Welcome back, everybody, to the last day of day number 8 here as we're getting ready for the last match. I'm Phonetap. I'm joined by Robert Wing from Blizzard as well as Chalky from Team Dignitas. How's the day been so far for you guys?
Been really exciting. We've seen a lot of really, I wouldn't want to say quick matches, but very concisely played matches. VLPS and Purple really showed that they're just very quick and very efficient players, so it's been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I really like all three of our representatives so far. I mean, think they'll do great at regionals and great representing America at the World Championships.
Well, they're representing the Americas region. I mean, Purple's from Canada, Chalky, so
hey,
he's
man.
not from America.
I mean, so is Hot Form's from Canada, too.
Exactly.
Those Canadians, they're coming out, man.
Yeah,
it's
they're
all
pretty
one
good.
cause. It's all one cause, representing the Americas.
Yeah, the last stage is for Crip to qualify, right? That's Canada's hope. I think we have some really good players coming up here for our final match as well. I'm really excited, but before we go into it, we also want to give one more shout out to Amazon for being able to partner with us to give these discount codes. The way to do it is go to amazon.com/Hearthstone, get some packs by getting coins and getting those coins back as a rebate. Go ahead. Again, the link, amazon.com/Hearthstone. If you want to build your TCG collection and you want to build some of those sweet decks, what's been your guys' favorite decks so far throughout all 8 days that you've been casting?
Tempo Mage. That's the only answer. It's Tempo Mage.
I was actually pretty disappointed that I didn't get to see some of my favorite decks. There was no Freeze Mage. There's no mid-range Paladin. I was kind of sad.
No Face Hunter.
I did like to see Silent Storm bring out the Control Priest. It did surprisingly well. And, lots of cool moments with that with Confessor Paltris, Thoughtsteal.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we haven't got to see too much of it develop just yet. But, you know, the meta is ever-changing, and they did have to play with the same deck list for over a week now for some of these people. We're about to see who can continue to that climb, as we do have Phonetap versus Jab. The 4th spot for regionals will be given out after this best of 5. And I think between these two players, I could see either of them going through. I remember over... in your camp, Robert, you were saying you thought that Jab was one of your top picks to go through to the top 8.
Yeah, so I actually met Jab last year at the Americas Championship. We talked a fair bit. He's a very quiet guy, as if you've ever seen his stream, he doesn't talk a lot, but he's extremely good at Hearthstone. And I think one of the things that makes him really solid as a player is a lot of players tend to, they'll grab a list and they'll just play it. And that's the list they play. They don't mess with it too much. They play it a lot on ladder. Jab is one of those players who really builds and disassembles decks, puts them back together, tries to figure out what works. And moreover, he plays just a ton of Hearthstone. He's always streaming. I definitely recommend checking out his stream if you haven't. I would think it's safe to say I'm a Jab boy.
Yeah, I mean, Jab's one of the people that you said people copy deck list. We're copying Jab's Hunter deck list a lot. So, I mean, that's the guy you kind of go to see those mid-range Hunter decks. Even Hybrid Hunter coming out recently.
Sure.
Got a lot of development in that deck, and it's been doing really solid for him so far here.
That's right. Meanwhile, Phonetap, on the other hand, we know him from the ESL Season 2 LAN, where he was able to win in the finals over Raynad, and that's where he got a chunk of his points, but he also placed well in ladder and a few other tournaments since then. Not to mention that Phonetap and Jab used to be teammates. They used to be on Team Hearthlytics, and I think Phonetap recently joined another team in Luminosity, so now he's on an opposing side. Maybe there is some rivalry and blood there. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just grasping at straws. You guys are awfully quiet. I don't know.
I was going to say, I don't know necessarily blood. I could see some rivalry, sure. I know, when Phonetap did win, Team Hearthlytics were extremely supportive of Phonetap, Fuzzy, Jab, all those guys. They were, very much it was a team celebration. So when Phonetap left to join Luminosity Gaming, I'm sure it's one of those things where, Hearthlytics guys miss him. And this is kind of a fun opportunity now for Jab to kind of assert his dominance. But I would assume, the two probably still get along reasonably well.
Yeah, I mean, Team Hearthlytics, one of those smaller teams in Hearthstone. They're only involved in Hearthstone. And Jab is basically, their headliner player. So he's actually been having really consistent results just over time. He was actually at the American Regionals last year alongside some other people, but a lot of people, he was there with everybody else that made BlizzCon. He was just one step away. So I think he wants to get back there this year, kind of prove that he can do it, and maybe get there on the second try.
Yeah, and don't sleep on him. He's already beaten a number of really quality opponents. He took out Stripe Pro, he took out Fibonacci. So Jab's already kind of gotten himself warmed up for this tournament. Very impressive performance thus far.
All right, well, we start off with Druid versus the Paladin here. A turn 1 Pilot Shredder. and that gives him the opportunity to be aggressive while playing out this wild growth. But of course, you're always in the back of your mind worried about like noble sacrifice, but I don't think that is. It's very rare that that's like played very early on out of the possibility of Druid just hero powering and making that rather ineffective.
That said, we do occasionally see it because it at least forces the Druid to use that 2 mana.
Sure.
Stops him from wild growthing, stops him from like developing something else on the board.
It's definitely one of the weaker secrets you could play on turn 1, though, compared to competitive spirit if you have muster for battle or avenge.
Right. Did Jab? I think Jab just passed turn without attacking.
No, he did attack.
He did attack.
Yeah. Was talking there, missed that, but yeah. I was gonna say maybe he thought it was noble sacrifice, although he'd probably still want to attack into it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like this weird thing where noble sacrifice is so bad against Druid that they just don't expect you to ever play it on turn 1, so they wild growth and never proc it, and then later they oh, it was noble sacrifice.
Huh.
It's like those things where like it's so bad that it worked.
Yeah, exactly.
And you just get mad at only yourself, really. Well, Phonetap has a couple of options primarily. I think it's difference between Knife Juggler and the Shielded Minibot. Chooses to play Repentance. Just to fill out the mana curve here.
Not necessarily going to be super effective against Jab just this turn because he doesn't actually have a 4-mana play, but it's something that'll keep Jab guessing. It'll probably make him play a little bit off of whatever his plan would be.
Right.
And it is going to be reasonably huge next turn once that Druid of the Claw comes down, assuming nothing else is drawn for Jab.
Yeah, now this really does look like it could be Noble Sacrifice or something else. The Avenge here is still going to get challenged. However, you know, Jab's like, please don't be Noble Sacrifice, because then he's taking a lot of damage on the other swing. And it's not. So he's in the clear.
Bloodmage Thalnos, not necessarily the greatest in terms of stats, but obviously gives you the slight boost of spell power. And oh, but that's a Knife Juggler.
The fact that it doesn't stick onto the board is pretty annoying. You generally want to have minions that fight, because even the fact that Thalnos draws a card sometimes can be a liability.
Oh, but look at that, the Wrath for 2 damage a cycle. Sometimes, I agree with what you're saying. You generally want something that's a little beefier.
Yeah.
A little, like especially something able to withstand a shot from Knife Juggler. But this kind of works out for Jab depending on what he wants to do. That said, this is the Druid of the Claw turn.
I think he can put his opponent on Repentance for sure. He's seen that his opponent passed. He didn't get a buff. Or did he clear the board? He did clear the board.
He cleared the board.
So he doesn't know if it's competitive secret or competitive spirit, but it's either that or Repentance.
Yep.
Yeah, and Phonetap's got a really sick turn 5 and 6 lined up, you know, assuming he doesn't get something else he wants to do. He's got that Lotheb, he's got Mysterious Challenger, and this is actually one of those matchups I played a fair bit of, and Paladin can definitely take out Druid by just kind of curving into that Mysterious Challenger, having a strong turn 5, and just kind of overwhelming the Druid.
Yeah, and now with the second Innervate picked up, Jab has the option to Innervate out of Druid of the Claw. You can put it in charge mode, so the Repentance isn't as big of a deal, and that looks like exactly what he's going to do. Just kind of get in that damage. Because Secret Paladin is a deck where if it's not ahead, it doesn't really have any defensive tools to just stop you from killing them.
Right, and obviously, because Phonetap doesn't have anything on the board, Druid of the Claw being a 4-1, not the end of the world. He'd have to have a muster for battle or something to really punish it, maybe a Consecration. But even then, if it's a Consecration, you're not upset to see that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Jab just charge out another one here, put Phonetap to 13, because what's going to happen is like Phonetap's going to kill off your 4-4. I guess the Noble Sacrifice would then definitely challenge your 4-1, but you could use the Force of Nature to stop that.
Right, so Jab's hand, if he plays to kind of what he has, definitely follows that play you're suggesting, where he can just play out those Force of Nature, those swipe. He has a lot of direct damage in hand, and Force of Nature is a really good way of challenging secrets.
Oh, Consecration drawn off the top here.
That's, yeah, it kind of depends. Which do you value more, the Consecration or the Mysterious Challenger?
That's a good point. Mysterious Challenger just draws out so much of your deck, but at the same time, this is the time to use Consecration.
Right, and he has a pretty good combo using Haunted Creeper, so...
Yeah, I would assume so.
Mysterious Challenger is going to be on the board next time anyway.
Yeah, I think Phonetap really had to be wary of just taking another 8, because the Druid Hero Power obviously threatens to proc the Noble Sacrifice. You take 8, you're down to 9, suddenly pretty much any 2 damage spells just kill you.
Yeah, or practically anything, you know, just the Swipe or Savage Roar or Force of Nature. Like, there's so many ways he could have gotten picked off. Now it seems much more manageable, because the Mysterious Challenger, he's going to be weeding out 3 secrets.
Yep. He's got the small hat.
Yeah, so
small.
Ooh, Dr. Boom, but question is, do you think you're playing into Repentance now?
No.
You don't think there's a second copy?
No, because that would mean he doesn't have either Second Avenge, Noble Sacrifice,
Or Competitive Spirit.
or Competitive Spirit.
It's one
yeah.
of, it has to be one of those muscled out, which would feel like Phonetap is running a very risky deck.
Yeah, I think we're just going to see a no attack from Jab here. Proc it with the Force of Nature next turn, potentially.
Right. The last thing you want to do is just give buffs from the Avenge, or where you don't have to.
Yeah.
Kind of a waste of time until he can do something really definitive. Second
Oh my
Consecration
goodness.
for
Hold on.
Phonetap.
I'm trying to see if that's how good that is at the moment. Because the thing is Boombots and Dr. Boom itself is also a problem. I still think Blessing of Kings might overall be just better.
I could do both.
Yeah.
Oh, he has 8 mana. You're right. Okay, I thought for some reason he only could do one or the other.
Yeah, I think he's just thinking through all the different possibilities of the Boombot and where it hits, and if he wants to just get rid of that Dr. Boom, because if he doesn't, he's pretty much dead.
It's true. The Consecration and the Blessing of Kings allow him to trade for almost everything.
Yeah, but if he just continues to trade, how does he really move forward to win in this game is what Phonetap's kind of thinking.
Yep.
So I think he needs to go for kind of a half-and-half play where he pushes some damage, but at the same time you do want to get rid of some of the board your opponent's presented.
What about killing the Shredder and consecrating and just attacking with the Mysterious Challenger aggressively? Is that too weak? Oh, he's going for the actual halfway of killing Dr. Boom.
Yep.
Okay.
So Shredder's still left up, but
Just see where the bombs go.
oof,
4 damage to the Mysterious Challengers.
pretty aggressive bombs there.
Yeah, for Jab here, I think there's probably a world in which you just kind of look at this and think, okay, well, I know exactly what he has. He's out of cards. I'm going to kill off his board, and that's game.
Well, it should be game.
Right, there is the potential of Divine
Second.
Favor off the top, second Mysterious Challenger. There are draws for Phonetap to get back in the game, but obviously Jab would be very happy to put his opponent on,
Oh, wow.
a
That
2
lines-
and 20.
Lines up pretty perfectly for the swipe. It's pretty tragic for Phonetap there. But yeah, that's how that goes sometimes against Druid. And Jab just gets to throw down the Shade pretty gingerly. And he's
He's
got
lethal lined up,
Yep.
and that'll be it.
Yeah, Phonetap's going to try to play this Pilot Shredder, but game number 1 goes to Jab. Very convincingly. Good sequencing and good playing around the secrets. And it feels like that's what Paladin does end up struggling with. Like you said, Druid able to really commandingly seize the tempo. And I think that's like the 7th game or something in a row where I've seen Druid be able to beat the Paladin. It feels like Paladin really struggles against in this matchup sometimes.
Yeah, it just basically, Chalky pointed out earlier, for Paladin to beat the Druid here, they really have to get ahead, because once they get behind, they don't really have the tools to deal with it. And those secrets aren't super effective a lot of times against the Druid. So, yeah, Jab's going to go ahead and take the series 1-0, well, make the series 1-0, and we'll have to see if Phonetap can answer back.
Yeah, and that's what the Secret Paladin is like. I think as time goes on, it starts to wear off in its effectiveness. I think it's definitely one of those flavors of the month, so to speak. However, I do recognize that it's one of the most powerful decks, too, in terms of explosion. I mean, the Mysterious Challenger hitting on turn 6 is one of the hardest things to come back from. It's also a really big rubber band mechanic where, like, you can be really far behind, then, like, boom, Mysterious Challenger, you fall back into it. But I'm personally falling less in love with the deck. I'm not sure about you, Chalky. Like, where do you really feel about the Paladin nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, I was always kind of on the bandwagon of like, I'm not too sure about this. Like, I think it might be a little overhyped. I played a lot of mid-range Paladin. That's what I ended up playing in the last chance call. I didn't win, obviously, but the mid-range Paladin did very well for me. I went 2-0 in my games with it. So, and all 4 players in the Chinese region that qualified for BlizzCon were all using mid-range Paladin and all beat the Secret Paladin counterparts. So that was one thing I kind of looked towards, as basically China was the only region that had played with TGT cards at that point. So I was just kind of using them as precedent. And I do think that, yeah, we're going to see less and less of the Secret Paladin as we go on. Maybe somebody will find a really refined list, and it'll become, one of those decks that, like Patron right now, is just everywhere.
Well, it's kind of everywhere. At least on ladder, sometimes it feels that way. But I think it's starting to phase out. We'll see, though. I mean, these players, this is almost the last hump that they have to overcome. If Phonetap wins here, he doesn't have to play the Secret Paladin anymore. But if he loses the series, you have to go into day number 9 and try to see if he can compete for a spot there.
Yeah, very minor note here. So Jab all year has been rocking kind of the goatee thing, but you can tell come tournament time, he shaved it off.
Baby-faced.
This is a hardened, battle-ready Jab. No more.
Man. No distractions.
No distractions. No facial hair. Only more hunting. Which we see he's elected to go ahead and bring out the Hunter for Game 2. I've said over the course this weekend, I would say he's arguably one of the best Hunter players in the world. Spends a lot of time, has very much learned the ins and outs of it, knows what to do in most situations, and it served him very well in this tournament so far, obviously, as he's only one win away from the Americas Championship.
Yeah, if you were to go by familiarity, Jab spent time with the Hunter for a long time. Back when Hunter was playing very aggressive and, people like Chalky were very much about the face life. Jab was one of the few people playing this weird style of deck that was like, maybe you play, Stranglethorn Tigers and you play Deadly Shots. And basically he was the first to lay the foundations with the mid-range Hunter. And then mid-range Hunter actually became a thing when Life Coach and Kalento was able to put the final touches on it. Guys like Jab have been playing that kind of style of Hunter for so long, about almost 2 years now. So he's very well versed with this class.
Yeah, we see that opening hand. Doesn't have the one drop, maybe a Leper Gnome or a Web Spinner, but he does have something for turn 2, and then he has a couple of options on turn 3. So he's pretty well taken care of. Phonetap, obviously going with Patron, and we can see his own deck doesn't have a Fiery War Axe, which he'd probably want to have when playing against Hunter. Chalky, what do you look for as a Patron player against a mid-range Hunter?
You're mostly looking for a few of the things Phonetap already has, which is Armorsmith just to contest some of the smaller minions that come down. You have Slam to contest the more mid-sized threats. And like you said, Fiery War Axe and Despite, really good. You do have to take a little bit of damage when you use those, but they're so efficient, especially like Despite, clearing out an Animal Companion, Fiery War Axe on a Knife Juggler. Things like that are just so efficient at keeping you ahead on the board and getting you to an in-game situation where you can stabilize.
Yeah, Jab goes ahead and plays Huffer on turn 3.
It's a good play.
Yeah.
To take out the Armorsmith is pretty key. I think you want to generally make sure the board is under a controllable state. If you rolled Leok, they can start doing weird shenanigans with damaging their minions, controlling it, playing Battle Rage. So overall, it's a pretty good move there. I like that decision to play Huffer.
Yeah, no, it's he could have decided to play Leok, could have decided to play Misha. Weaker plays, in my opinion. Weaker plays.
Right. Going back to the fact that Jab is just so good at Hunter.
Right.
He really nailed that Animal Companion role.
He's the Huffer Whisperer.
I see a lot of people playing Hunter, and they don't make the decision to always summon Huffer, and I don't understand. Huffer's a 4-2 with charge. What don't you want about it? Looking over at Phonetap's hand, now he has Shield Slam, and that's not a card you see in every single Patron deck. It's one of those cards that I feel like is more aimed at Druid and possibly Hunter, or not Hunter's, Patron mirrors as well. So, Rodan, where do you think Shield Slam is best fit against?
Well, I think Shield Slam in general just kind of fits in what you feel like is really powerful in the metagame. One of the schools of thought that you can do against Patron is to aggro them out in a way, like pressure them to the point. And Shield Slam just gives you one more removal piece, and it's surprisingly useful against even decks like Handlock, which you might be anticipating in this format as well. Because you do have executes, but it's like, well, I'm also building up armor. I even have shield blocks. Having one Shield Slam really does give you more options, so that way I can either afford to pass more turns or I can draw more. The problem is Shield Slam doesn't actively get you close to your win condition. It's just another way to stall. Similar to Brawl, for example. So some people choose Brawl, some people choose Shield Slam. Some people just choose to draw more cards with Loot Hoarder. I think it's really down to style and ultimately what you think the metagame is going to be.
Right, and obviously since Phonetap has made it this far, it's hard to dispute having Shield Slam.
Yeah, they're all right in a way, because there's so many different lineups that you hit.
Right, so we see Jab had that Houndmaster last turn, had a Mad Scientist down, so he couldn't just, put the Houndmaster on that. Does put down the Haunted Creeper, will be able to Houndmaster that next turn if he wants to. Throws down Freezing Trap at the end there. Kind of wants to get that Armorsmith off the board, doesn't necessarily want to put damage into it. Chalky, what do you think of that versus Hero Powering?
Yeah, I think Hero Powering was something players were a lot more willing to do when we were kind of first playing Hunter. And then there kind of came this school of thought that you should just play whatever is in your hand, play the most tempo-oriented play. Because the more you save your board, like this Mad Scientist and this Haunted Creeper, the more repetitive damage they get. And if at the end of the day it equals or is greater than that 2 damage you gave up on by not Hero Powering, then it was worth it.
It's a very interesting school of thought. We see now Phonetap interraging the Acolyte of Pain, not really surprising. This will allow him to go ahead and taunt up the Haunted Creeper with Houndmaster, though, give it the damage boost, and then he only has to trade the Mad Scientist into the Acolyte of Pain, so if he wants to here, he can, start pushing for damage with that Haunted Creeper. More importantly, that Haunted Creeper is no longer a liability if Grim Patron comes down.
That'll come as time develops. You're still at turn 5. You're not too worried about that. It's more retroactive. It's like, oh, it's turn 5. He actually went for Patrons. Crap. Like maybe I need to actually start cashing this in. Even then, sometimes one attack minions can fight against the Patron. So don't be so mean to your 1/1s, Robert. They have a role sometimes.
Unfortunately, when I play against Patron, I'm just constantly like, no, you have less than 3 attack. We need to fix this. What can we do to get you battle ready? I'm like on turn 5, and like you said, I don't have to worry about that till turn 8. But
listen, Haunted Creeper, we need to have a talk.
Why don't you meet me in my office? Jab's pushing a lot of damage though right now. He has Phonetap down to 11.
Yeah, this is exactly what you want to be doing. This is why a lot of times Patron players felt Midrange Hunter was favored in the matchup originally, because if you follow the curve and you just put on pressure, Hunter's going to always be one of those things like not only are you taking damage because you're weapons, but you're also developing damage while leveraging damage from the hand. So it ends up into one dead Patron.
Yeah, we see Phonetap has more than enough ways to clear this board though. Gonna go ahead and slam first, gets a card draw, finds a Grim Patron, so he has a Frothing Berserker, he has a Grim Patron. He can choose a Whirlwind to get everything off the board, or he could just swing to the face and get the Whirlwind effect off that, but I don't know. I'm not sure in this situation whether you want a Whirlwind or exhaust the weapon. I would imagine you keep the weapon.
Yeah, keeping the weapon's pretty valuable. It might be for your win condition. I think you have 2 Whirlwinds. You're most likely to part ways with 1. The only thing that you have to really be worried about is, can I die the next turn? And the answer is absolutely.
Ooh, Savannah Hyman, that's a pretty solid draw.
Yeah, exactly. He's
but
dead.
He doesn't even need it because, just kill command, quick shot, and hero power.
He had 11 damage. And, I mean, this is something that you anticipate possibly could happening, but that was so quick. A turn 6 kill. And Hunter didn't even really, like, do what people really hate about Hunter. They weren't, like, really charging the face a lot. It was like, oh, I traded for your Armor Smith. It's like, these are things that Jab was laying the foundations of. And there was plenty of time, so to speak, for his opponent to react. But at the same time, the Hunter just pressured just enough. And it's like, he killed him. And even if he didn't kill him that turn, he still had more damage to follow up. He could have weaved in hero powers, played Unleash the Hounds, kill command the following turn. I mean, Jab was in a very comfortable spot.
Right, yeah, no, Jab, again, knows the in and outs of Hunters really well. He knew kind of what he had to do to set up. He never let Phonetap have breathing room. He was always pushing something, and he was pushing something that was inconvenient to remove. So it wasn't if Phonetap could just drop some spells and clear the board. So not really surprised by Jab doing this well. I think Phonetap still has a lot of room to get back into the series, but Jab's definitely, not letting up.
Yep, Jab only has to win with that Patron Warrior now. Phonetap has to win with Patron Warrior, Secrets Paladin, and his Hybrid Hunter.
Yikes.
So it's a long road for Phonetap here.
Yeah, that was another thing I kind of wanted to point out. Common consensus is that mid-range Hunter is actually kind of weak to Patron because it doesn't have as much raw kill potential as Face Hunter, and you can get them close, but a lot of times you can't necessarily close it out, and then those smaller minions you have kind of become liabilities to the Patrons.
So you think Face Hunter is better against Patron than mid-range Hunter?
I don't know if necessarily with current lists, but I know there was a point where I personally had more success just facing people using stuff like Wolf Rider.
Uh-oh, you just admitted to playing Face Hunter. Get him!
Golden? I have a Golden Hunter. I have 2 golden classes, Hunter and Paladin.
I remember for ESL Legendary Series Season 1, I played all day Control Warrior just to get Golden Wolf Riders to make my Golden Face Hunter deck.
No shame in that.
Was it worth it?
That's being committed to the cause. Playing the opposition just to get the Golden Wolf
But
Riders.
Shocky, you play control classes all the time.
Yeah, I do.
Exactly. You probably even enjoyed it.
Hey, man, I just got to play what wins.
There you go. There you go. So we see we're going to have here a Patron Mirror. Seems fitting.
Yeah, and, Phonetap immediately choosing to armor up instead of play the Armor Smith. This is another interesting thing, too. I think being able to draw cards very early on is a priority for Jab, and I agree. Generally speaking, the Acolytes get taken out by weapons is one of the worst outcomes. So you want to make sure at least be able to draw twice. And cycling through with an Inner Rage is not back-breaking to your combos at all.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how this pans out because, as I pointed out last game, Phonetap is running that version that runs Shield Slam, and I feel like that can definitely help him in the mirror match. The ability to just get rid of a fully undamaged Patron, once Patrons are made, could be very huge for Phonetap.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Jab go for an Enrage so early. Is one of the best cards in this matchup, along with the Grim Patron, which we see already has. There are certain kind of panouts where you just make 4 Patrons on turn 5, your opponent has no answer, and you're pushing, 6 or 9 damage a turn and make more Patrons, draw more cards, and coast to the victory.
Yeah, but at the same time, he was still missing the Death Spite, so I think he felt like he had to go for more cycle-heavy stuff because he can't be reliant on waiting for that strategy. And then I guess he just didn't feel comfortable passing. But
Yeah.
I think at the same time, rushing and recklessness is often what gets you killed in this matchup too, because you overextend a little bit too far onto the board, and then all of a sudden you've wasted your resources and your opponent has lethal.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you get in that situation where you're like, oh, cool, I made a bunch of Patrons, I'm winning.
Yeah, then they play their own Father Circle with Patrons.
You're like, oh, I'm not winning anymore, because you're dead. Jab has a potential here to go ahead and injure some of his minions if he feels like expending Whirlwind and Cruel Taskmaster and getting that Battle Rage. Unfortunately, since he's not damaged, however, probably doesn't feel super value.
Well, I don't think he's going to be damaged for a long time since he put out those Armor Smiths early.
Yeah.
He got the armor early. He's pretty much committed to not chipping that armor for a really long time. Wouldn't be surprised to just see him Battle Rage for 2. He could Battle Rage for 3, like you said, but that's basically trading Whirlwind for a random card in your deck. We'll have to see if he decides that's worth it.
Right, he's definitely considering it, but as you said, it's a random card in your deck. Like, what are you hoping to draw?
Right, you definitely want to have a card in mind when you do this. Maybe it's something like Harrison Jones to deny your opponent's plays. Maybe you're looking for second Enrage or just Despite. But Whirlwind is an important card, and that's 1 Whirlwind down for him.
He does get the Warsong Commander. He gets Despite and Execute. Pretty great haul, I would think, being able to get that Despite, get that Warsong Commander. So it's not as if he just traded that Whirlwind away for nothing. He did get some pretty good stuff. Remains to be seen. Unfortunately, since Phonetap is kind of playing more slowly, there might not even be a convenient place to equip that Despite.
Yeah.
Nope, never mind. Acolyte of Pain's down. That's a pretty good thing to hit, to possibly hit with the Deathbite.
Yeah, I don't know if... Yeah, I mean, Jab is just gaining so much armor.
He's playing the Control Warrior plan now.
I mean, hypothetically speaking, there is a finite amount of damage if you want to take that route.
Wow, going face. Looks like he's going to execute that Acolyte, deny the cards. We've seen both players do this. Become a more and more common play in this matchup.
Absolutely. Deny your opponent the resources, but, at the same time, Jab's, he's as if he's going to be aggressive, but he doesn't exactly have guarantee that his combo will work out. He only has the Patron next turn, and his opponent has a lot of cards as well.
Yeah, he can make 4 Patrons, maybe even defend them with an Unstable Ghoul. That'd pretty much be going all in, like you said. Only have 2 cards to back that up. But as we see right now, Phonetap doesn't have a great response if that were to happen.
No, he's just going to pass. There's just nothing really to do this turn. The Unstable Ghoul and the Paladin Berserk, you want to save those cards.
It's happening.
Yeah, Phonetap kind of chuckled there in that last turn because he realized, like, well, I made some armor and that's what I got.
Yeah.
We see it's Patron time.
It's Patron time.
It's Patron time.
He brings out the Morpher. It's Patron time!
It's Patron!
Dun, and then all 5 Patrons combine to be 1 Super Patron.
That's pretty much the stuff of my nightmares.
Patron Rangers.
No, Patron, no!
Stop! There's too many. Go home.
Well,
it's Patron time.
Like Frodan said, there are ways to come back from this. Phonetap can deal with at least 2 of the Patrons. We'll have to kind of see how he navigates this, because if he can come back from this, he's in the lead of the resource war right now.
Yeah, pretty substantially, too. It's actually just not even close.
Of course, he does have to expend a lot of that just to deal with it.
Is there a way for him to set it up so that way he can even clear the board the following turn, or even to go beyond and dominate the board instead of just clearing it? Because there's always the case of, like, maybe you can utilize your opponent's Unstable Ghoul against him if the board gets too full.
Well, unfortunately, you can't really bounce off the Armor Smith because the Unstable Ghoul will kill that.
That's true.
And he can't really get the Despite Whirlwind out next turn because he can't attack with it this turn.
Yeah.
We do see that Shield Flame I mentioned just being used to clear a full health Patron.
Yep.
That 3/3 Patron is annoying.
Yeah, that's the real key one.
The one that's at full health.
Just going to equip and pass. And yeah, next turn I do think he might take over the board, like you said.
Yeah, he's definitely got the stuff in hand to be able to do it, so. Ooh. Jab considering a Warsong Commander, but obviously he doesn't really have anything to follow that up with.
Yeah, the Warsong Commander would be weird because there's actually no one charging forward after her.
Well, he could slam his own Patron.
Yeah.
For 3 extra damage.
Just 3 damage. Right. It doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, I guess a win's a win if you're able to get that far. Frotling Berserker.
Berserker's a game changer.
Yep, definitely going to give him an even better chance of closing it out, even if he loses control of the board here, which it looks like he will. I mean, a Warsong plus Patron from Phonetap will give him 4 patrons of his own, one of which can kill off a patron, and then the Dustbite can kill a patron.
So this is the comeback charge from Phonetap.
That said, it is important to note, Jab is at 58 health.
Yeah, but health isn't a huge deal. We saw earlier, I mean, Reynad had so much health against Bloody Face, but when you have so little cards as the Patron Warrior, you're basically armor passing turn after turn, so your opponent just chips in repetitive damage and eventually kills you.
Chip is an understatement, right? It's like they're actually hitting you for 12 to 15.
And it's only a chip in 60.
I guess so. Here is a big opportunity for Phonetap to come back in. 63 health, but Phonetap will own the board.
Yep.
Phonetap's kicking everyone out, but inviting some new friends in. This is basically a turf war now. Phonetap's Grim Patrons are muscling him out, taking over. We'll have to see what Jack can draw. I'm not actually sure what he could draw at this point.
Well, you're going to need to draw into those whirlwind effects, I believe, and just go for a frothing win somehow this game.
Yeah, he does manage to slow him down a little bit by killing the Warsong Commander.
Or so he thinks.
I was going to say, obviously, he's unaware that there's another Warsong Commander. And Phonetap kind of gives a little nod. He understands that Jab doesn't have too much to contest his board with, so Phonetap's probably just going to be on the plan of trying to just damage him down, make some patrons, while at the same time armoring up, so he doesn't die to something like Frothing Berserker.
Yeah. Well, you really have to weigh the difference between pushing more damage further to kill them a turn earlier, so they have one less turn to have that combo, versus if you can even play around the combo, because it might be at a point for Phonetap where you just want to kill your opponent ASAP.
Yeah, and having to measure that out, gosh, that's a lot of math, to be honest here. We see the second Warsong Commander coming out and a Frothing Berserker.
It is.
That's what he's going for.
Yeah, it's math time.
He's going for just killing him as fast as possible.
Yeah, I don't mind this at all. You also, the only thing that I would be wary of is that it is like his last Warsong Commander, but even then you can just win through Patron Flood too.
Yeah. He's also probably going to get a pretty good battle rage here. Yeah, he doesn't, besides he doesn't need to armor up, he's just going to draw some cards. We'll see if Jab can punish him for it.
That's a full hand.
I mean,
he's got another Warsong. So he's got another Frothing Berserker in his Warsong. If it doesn't die, he's just going to be able to charge that too.
Technically speaking, yeah, it's only 7 out of 10.
Hey, he still didn't get through the armor.
Yeah.
That's right. Gosh. It's like 2 turns of attacking.
Is this?
No.
No.
Only 1 whirlwind.
It's close though.
But can he like survive another one, and then like if he executes the Warsong and then just kind of
I believe it's 13. So
yeah, he just
needs to sit back one more turn, draw 1 more whirlwind effect, and then it might be it.
Okay. Because the opponent did use all the armor smiths and stuff, right?
Someone's opening a lot of packs there. It seems like, I don't know. I would assume Whirlwind does it. I would assume a second Unstable Ghoul does it. Have we seen Jab play a first Unstable Ghoul yet?
No.
No, so there are definitely outs in his deck. And as we can kind of see.
Actually, I think we have. He protected his first wave of patrons with it.
That's what it was, yep. So.
Is it ever a case where playing an Unstable Ghoul protects you from their Unstable Ghoul?
It is, but is Phonetap going to put his opponent on that exact kind of cards?
It's hard to make that read.
Yeah, it would protect him in this exact scenario, but normally you kind of look at that and you're like, oh, don't want to give him a whirlwind effect.
Nah, it's completely reasonable. I'm really scared if Jab picks up another whirlwind.
Yeah, he only has 1 whirlwind left in his deck. A Despite would kind of function as the same thing, but then he might just be dead.
Yeah, he doesn't have enough time. There's too much pressure onto the board.
Yeah, let's see what this next draw is.
No, the Emperor Thorson is not it. Looks like Jab is just going to suffocate to death on this one.
Yeah, I believe that's just he's dead no matter what he does. Maybe something by charging out the minions he can stay technically alive,
but he's just he has no way to win.
He'll have no way to win after that. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him just concede.
What he can do is go out in a glorious blaze and fire up.
Just scare his opponent.
Yeah,
be
just
like,
scare it up.
Yeah,
you're dead.
Maybe Phonetap just concedes.
JK.
It's a mind game, right?
No.
No, probably not at this stage. Maybe on ladder though. Maybe on ladder that's the play you go with. But Jab's obviously just calculating the math here, just making sure there isn't anything he could possibly be doing. But yeah, chooses to just go ahead and go with that concede. Phonetap is on the board, so the series is now going to be 2-1, still in favor of Jab. Phonetap no longer has access to Patron, and when we looked at the rest of Phonetap's decks, they weren't exactly the best against Patron.
Yeah.
You do have to worry at that because usually you pick your best deck if you're down 0-2 with whatever's you expect to come out. But if your best matchup is the mirror,
yeah,
that
means all your other matchups are below 50% in your mind.
Around there, yeah. I mean, it could be the same. I mean, he could feel like Hunter's the same, but realistically speaking, he's already in pretty deep trouble, I think.
Yeah. Some people also just don't go for their best. Maybe some people go for their worst first. I mean, you do have to win with all three because it's Conquest, so
yeah, psychologically
you can go in any
speaking.
order you want.
Sure.
Yeah, and looking at what Phonetap has left, it's the Secrets Paladin versus the Hunter. Hunter is obviously what Jab used to beat Phonetap's Patron Warriors, so maybe Phonetap thinks, hey, anything you can do, I can do better.
It could be, although Jab is playing more of the the true style of mid-range Hunter. Nowadays, hybrid is all the rage. And people really feel like hybrid Hunter is a very good option, so that way you can be aggressive or defensive depending on how things are. And I think hybrid Hunter is much worse against Patron than mid-range Hunter is, but that's just my opinion. I know a lot of people are split on those ideas, depends on what they play and what their decks are.
Ooh, we see Phonetap goes Paladin, and that is pretty brutal curve to be working with.
Well,
mysterious challengers.
If he curves out, that's a pretty good hand.
Yeah, he just has to draw perfectly from this point on.
No, Blessing of Kings definitely doesn't help.
Well, from Jab's side of things, we do see a hand that could easily end the game if the right circumstances are met. If that Unstable Ghoul can Whirlwind on 2 Inner Rage Patrons, that's pretty hard to come back from. And there's a Whirlwind. So turn 6, Jab might be going to Grim Patron Town.
Grim Patron Town.
That's like my least favorite town.
I was gonna say when you're on a road trip, you're like, maybe we don't need to stop there.
No.
I mean, look, there's Control Priest Town just right up the road. Let's just go there.
I mean, I love Grim Patron Town, man.
Yeah, that's right. You were telling Admiral that you're still on a high on Grim Patron. You're not like sick of it at all.
Yeah, everybody else is like all jaded of it. I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's not that bad.
Well, Jab's just gonna take this time to cycle through. Phonetap getting a little bit of help here. Assume that this mini bot getting challenged by the Unstable Ghoul is not very happy.
And we see he had a couple of options there. Alexa played on the Shredder. Shredder is one of the better minions against Patron. Obviously pretty sticky.
Just good against Warrior in general.
Yeah.
Well, Jab doesn't really have anything here. So
sure.
That's one thing that's going for Phonetap.
Yeah, he does next turn have Coin
He's
Emperor,
got...
But his hand is pretty.
Yeah, he could just go for those Patrons first. Maybe then Emperor. But this turn, yeah, just going to pass and see what else Phonetap has. Might be Knife Juggler. Muster right into a Whirlwind.
Yeah, Jab needs to be careful. It doesn't look like much damage necessarily on board right now, but this can rapidly turn against him. He does have an Execute, which is good considering Phonetap has a
little excessive. Execute is it's pretty much doing
basically
nothing.
Does nothing.
It does nothing.
You want to save it for the Mysterious Challenger, maybe Dr. Boom. We even saw Tyrion in Phonetap's list.
What if something gets a Blessing of Kings? I mean, if that
then you can execute it.
Right, that's what I mean. I would not just execute a 2-1 damage shielded minion.
It's okay, Rob.
No, guys, I swear I'm good. I'm good at this game. I'm ranked 5. I'm the best. Yeah, Blessing of Kings probably has to come out before even I would execute it.
Yeah, definitely agree there. Phonetap, let's see, Choose Over Champion is something that you can use to press for later, but I think right now you focus on board development. You do weigh Knife Juggler versus the Blessing of Kings play. We know that Blessing of Kings is definitely the more effective play because he's got so many whirlwind effects, but does Phonetap see it?
Yeah,
He does.
there it is. So Jab could decide to execute this, but I almost feel like that'd be playing into what Phonetap wants, just curving out into the Mysterious Challenger the very next turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is.
Might be better to just go to Patron Town.
I say, no, we're not going there.
I hate that place.
Good. Jab may not realize just how much danger he's in. I mean, I'm sure he's looking up at the clock and sees that it's turn 5 for the Paladin. Turn 6, some bad stuff could happen. He didn't have a lot of plays early on. So he might be aware the Mysterious Challenger is about to ask him an uncomfortable question, but...
Or 5. Maybe 4.
Well, he comes out and he says, "Who am I?" He doesn't say it 5 times. He should say it once for each secret, though. Wouldn't that be pretty great?
I think that'd be a little strange.
Oh.
Yeah, schizophrenic. You're just kind of hearing voices from the Mysterious Challenger.
Maybe at that point you honestly feel like a little concerned for him. You're like, he's like, "Who am I? Who am I?"
He's going
You're
through
like,
an identity
"Yo,
crisis.
You need to find yourself, Mysterious Challenger.
Maybe he just asks a question for every secret that comes out, like, who am I? What am I? Where am I?
How am I?
All right, so it's just going to be Thorison, which is going to enable some pretty great stuff to happen.
That's fantastic.
With Jab-san.
You can pay everything except the second patron next turn, and maybe even a little bit extra if he picks up yet another whirlwind activation. Mysterious Challenger, definitely not a bad play at all. The only thing is that it's just more minions.
Oh, Repentance.
Yep.
Ooh, you're right.
Oh, we picked up Unstable Ghoul.
Ooh.
What a jerk. That's not who you want to see.
Patron Town. Patron Town.
Sounds like a podcast I would never watch.
Like, Chalky, we'll go somewhere else. You go to Patron Town. We'll maybe just go get some dinner or something. You just hang out in Patron Town.
Is that how you welcome your subscribers, Chalky?
Just everyone get in here. There you go. That's a soundbite that people love.
Well, I mean, honestly, Jab, it looked like he had a really solid hand, but
he's under a lot of pressure.
Phonetap's board is insane right now.
Yeah, that guy's board is crazy.
I can't beat a board like that.
He got exactly the board he needed to
those 2 Mysterious Challengers to beat me. Or actually only just 1.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how this ends up panning out, though.
Again, Jab can play most of his hand.
Yeah, he definitely needs to probably execute that 9-8.
Right, but the Redemption will bring back, I believe, a 2-1, so that way he doesn't have to worry about it.
Animations may actually be...
Well, Redemption's already been procced, so...
Oh, it has? Okay,
Yep.
I apologize.
And Jab interraging.
The Shredder?
Doomsayer? No, just a friendly Murloc.
Murgle.
Hey.
Okay.
Murloc's like, I don't belong in this match.
Hey.
Hey. Yeah, so Jab does a pretty good job of clearing that.
Yeah.
Obviously, had he had more time, he probably could have even slammed the Murloc if he wanted to, but it's up to Jab now, or it's up to Phonetap now to figure out if he wants to just... I would assume he wants to keep going face.
6, 8, 12.
Oh, he's just going for juggles.
Whoa.
Well, it's not really...
He heard Flame Waker did a good job, so
not
he wants
too big
to
of
match
a
it.
risk.
Yeah.
Too many minions on board.
Yep. Won't really spawn many patrons. Snipes off the Emperor. Can't be unhappy about face either.
Yeah, and a lot of these patrons are getting pretty weak.
Yep. Little bit of concern for Jab.
Yeah, and I mean, what would Jab need here to pull back into it?
Probably
Commander?
Whirlwind or, Warsong Commander would obviously do really great.
Yeah.
I think that might be the draw of choice.
It's kind of fun to watch Phonetap fight back the endless hordes with his knives.
He can't clear every patron, and other patrons will spawn more patrons.
So he needs to probably slam into a card. I don't think he can really make a winnable board state with just these 3 patrons.
Well, he can create more patrons, kill off the 6-3 with the 3-1, and then slam with Knife Juggler.
Yeah, I guess he might just go for that. Gonna slam his own patron.
Wow. He really likes Patron Town.
Interesting, because that means he does gain that extra armor.
Wow.
Oh. Sick pickup.
Oh, Phonetap is crushed.
Into the Warsong.
Wow. That's a board clear,
That's
right?
a board clear, yeah.
In 2 seconds.
Oh, no.
Hurry up, Jab.
Wait. I thought Jab was in trouble.
How could this happen to me?
Oh.
Hey, guys. We're in Patron Town.
No! You told me
Everyone!
that.
God.
Broden, you told me the GPS was locked in. How did this happen?
I'm never using Google Maps again.
Yeah, now we are officially in Patron Down, and you can see Phonetap's face.
Wow, and he's getting so much life by doing this too.
Yeah, this might be
This is why.
the end of Jab's road in a good way.
Oh, consecration. Oh, but there's that one. Well, no, because he can equip the sword.
Okay.
So he can equip the sword.
And then there's that other patron.
But then there's
No,
more
no.
patrons.
Phonetap doesn't know. Let him have
Right,
this.
right. So from Phonetap's point of view, maybe there's a chance he's kind of like, yeah, I'll consecrate.
I wonder.
I wonder.
I wonder if he has another Grim Patron.
I wonder
he's got
if he
4.
didn't top deck that battle rage.
I wonder.
That was brutal.
Yeah.
The battle rage into the War Song Commander for the exact mana. Phonetap can just clear everything except the War Song. And you know what's
And the
interesting
armor's
too?
He's gonna get a bunch of armor out there.
Yeah.
He gets a bunch of armor, and those minions are weakened, so another battle rage can happen.
Oh, baby. So you're telling me we're going to see more patrons?
That's right.
I mean, I feel like that was gonna happen regardless.
Well,
It's a patron deck, Chalky.
Yeah, I mean,
It's full of patrons.
Phonetap was so close to just outright winning this match.
Mm-hmm.
You did say he had a pretty crazy board. What happened?
Oh,
Well,
man.
there's still a pretty crazy board. It's just Jabs now.
Jab's board is reasonably tame.
I
He doesn't even put down another patron. He just passes.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
holding on to that second patron to use with the second War Song and the Despite.
He knows that
And-
Phonetap will eventually play smaller minions, and that'll always be relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll have 16 out of hand next turn.
None of your business.
Maybe with a second Noble Sacrifice, that can mitigate some of that damage.
Ooh.
Pulled 2 secrets. Okay, he just drew another one, so he can play Avenge as well.
If it's not Noble Sacrifice, I believe the game is over.
Right, because he can just generate a lot of damage.
That said, I think it is Noble Sacrifice, though.
Yeah, there are 2 of them down, so one of them is pretty likely to be Noble Sac. Not even, does that save him, I wonder? Because it would just spawn another patron with a frothing.
Okay, I think that's over. I think we have the 4th player to go to San Francisco, and it's Jab.
Yeah, he's going to sequence it. He knows it's not Repentance now. Just kind of checking what everything is.
Jab's got to figure this out first. He's got to.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely where you don't want to screw it up. Of course, he
Yeah.
does have a lot of breathing
There is room for error here.
Yes.
And you just have to be really cautious. I'm glad that he went with the War Song, which means he's committed.
Man, I'd throw caution to the wind. I'd be like, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Get him frothing.
Go for the victory lap here.
Yeah, do it. Play it.
It was a long journey for Jab, but looks like he's going to get another opportunity to go to regionals once again.
Yeah, he's our first repeat and probably only repeat. I mean, Firebat obviously still has the opportunity. That's
There's some very big implications of this. This means that I'm finally on the board.
Hold on. He has to actually like do this in time.
Yeah. I mean, I think
on,
the
Jab.
patron would have been quite a bit better. But if this is still lethal, then it's still lethal.
It should still be okay.
Whoa,
wait,
it's not
hold on.
lethal.
Wait, what?
He didn't get it. Something happened where it wasn't lethal because the turn ended.
Oh, you're right. The rope actually burned all the way down. He's just going to hit face here.
He didn't have lethal. He only had 16, so he puts him to 2.
Okay. Never mind.
But is there any way Phonetap comes back and this Consecration has to come off the top here?
They already used the consecration though.
Sludge Belcher.
That puts a that's puts a
he
hold
gets-
in the
You have
thing.
to hold on to your 9/6 here. You have to let the Sludge Belcher die.
He can't kill the Warsong Commander, by the way, because
Yeah, he can't
he's at
use his
2 health.
weapon. Right. He needs to put the 9/6 into the War Song and set up with the Belcher.
Yeah.
We've seen hilarious comebacks like this
Let
An hour ago.
an hour ago at Archon League.
Yeah.
We've seen some crazier stuff happen.
All right. Well, begin the road to the comeback here, Phonetap. Just got to play the muster.
Not
And the
swing
Sludge
into the War
Belcher.
Song.
Nah, he's definitely not going to.
What? Oh, no. And that's it.
Jab wins. He
Jab
is
goes
the
to regionals.
America's Championship.
What a legend.
Congratulations to
What a
Jab.
crazy comeback.
Oh, wait. I think maybe that was his way of conceding.
I think so.
I think so, but it was like one of these things where like, oh, he got such belcher, he can do it.
No.
But congratulations, Jab is the 4th player to go to San Francisco, and he is our first player to repeat that back-to-back years. What a great accomplishment for him.
More importantly, this means in my Blizzard office draft, I was not shut out.
That's right.
There you go,
That's
Rob.
right.
Jab made it!
Jab
he,
boys.
He 2nd round picked Jab, I believe, right? It was
It
the
was a
first was
snake ladder,
hyped.
so I picked Hyped and Jab at the first time. I just wrote Hyped first, but
Gotcha.
they were picked at the same time.
Gotcha.
Ixar's going to end up winning because he try-harded this, but
Yeah.
I got one.
He first picked Strife Crow, but I think you guys made some pretty reasonable picks. Definitely did a good job there. Well, that's it. We have 4 of our players. We're going to find out 2 more tomorrow on day number 9. We're going to start once again here on the Play Hearthstone channel. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Let's talk a little bit about the wrapping up the day here. Robert, what was it like for you being able to see some of these players go through?
I mean, it's been all the way through. I've been surprised just how incredibly well all of these players have played. It's been great to see some of these players that I haven't really known who they are aside from ladder, like seeing Fibonacci. Obviously, you know, he kind of had a quick exit, but just getting to see him play was a lot of fun. VLPS is another one of those players I always wondered about. Turns out he's extremely good.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Been very satisfied with this event. There's been some fairly memorable moments, like yesterday's Big Game Hunter off the top into Rag,
Yeah,
into the
that was
Flame
pretty
Waker
crazy.
missing, Savador Karma. Like, and then, you know, leading up to even this, obviously Jab played a great series. Super happy for him that he's going to get another chance to, you know, advance from the America's Championship.
How's
Yeah.
the day for you, Chalky?
I'm really happy with everyone that advanced. Feel like they all played really great. Happy to see all of them represent America, potentially at BlizzCon. Especially happy for Jab. I mean, he was at regionals last year. He did get stopped just short, just like me. And so, I mean, if anyone knows how that feels, I do. And getting a second chance at that is so great.
Fantastic. And this is an opportunity for you guys to get another chance, by the way, at some cool BlizzCon gear. If you go to gear.blizzard.com, we're doing a promo code. Robert, why don't you talk a little bit more about that as our rating Blizzard rep here?
Right, sure. So if you use the code when you check out HSRTB15, you can get 10% off your total order, and you can get sweet shirts like this, and pardon my cast, this, and then all these sweet plushies behind us.
This is what happens when you play too much Face Hunter, by the way.
Yeah, this is the price you pay for Golden Hunter.
You pay your ring and pinky fingers on your right hand.
Worth.
I mean, all you need is the index, right?
That's
Like,
just value.
That's all you need
You
the
just-
index for the iPad.
Yeah.
All right, so
And the mouse.
but yeah,
God.
so it is 10% off your order, and
Yeah.
you can see all around some pretty cool stuff. So
Absolutely.
definitely stop by if you're looking to get some stuff. Now would be the time.
We also give a big final shout out to Twitch, ESL, and Blizzard for helping us put this on together, as well as the Amazon App Store for putting up that discount coupon that's going on. Again, Amazon.com/Hearthstone. We're done with day number 8. Tomorrow, we're going to find out who are the last 2 spots going to join the 8 players that are going to be total in San Francisco in October. Thank you so much for watching. From Frodan, Worthen, and Chalky. Have a good night. See you guys tomorrow.